Looking at our data sources, we know about catalogs and pixels. Let's go and have a look at this offline event sets. Now, the definition of an offline event set is it is there to match offline interactions with metrics from your Facebook ads to help you understand how your ads are working. So basically what that means, and I'll use an example to explain. If you are a 5-star hotel and people don't necessarily book directly from you online, they may want to make an inquiry first before making the booking, especially if you have special offers. Basically what you can do is you can take the data that you've got from those bookings and load them back into Facebook to see how many of those inquiries actually came from ads that you were running. It's a very, very useful tool, especially if you're needing to report to someone on how your ads are running. It's really easy to create an offline event set. You basically just come to your business settings, offline event sets, come through to add. You will need to go through these terms and conditions. Facebook's got really tight on how you're using customer data. So you need to ensure that any of this information is actually owned by you, that it's not purchased data. So once you've read these terms and conditions, go through and click accept. And you can name your events. Helps if I can spell. And at this point, you want to tell Facebook where you're trying to attribute these events to. So what ad account? If I had multiple ad accounts here, they would all show up and I'd be able to say which ad account I'm wanting to link these events to. So this one happens to be selected. And we're going to assign who we want to be able to see these things and manage them, and done. As usual, you'll have to refresh in order to see that offline event set that's created. We've created this event set, but we haven't actually put in any data to match to our ad account. So what we need to do now is go through to open an events manager. Now, as a reminder, you can find that same thing through this menu here, Events Manager. Same place you would find your pixels or your custom conversions. So through to Events Manager. This is the pixel we created. And the custom conversions, everything here. So our data sources, we're looking for our offline event sets. So we're going to select our offline event sets, and we're going to need to add our offline event. So we're going to get started. And again, just follow the instructions that are given to you. So we're going to download an example CSV file. Now I want you to download this because it's easy to get this wrong, and I really want you to do it right the first time. By using their example CSV file, it's going to make sure that you're putting the data in the correct format to allow Facebook to match this correctly. Having a look at this example file, you'll notice that everything is separated into columns. The most important things to note is that first name and surname or last name are kept separate. The other important thing to notice is that there is an event name, i.e. purchase. So it's really important that we tell what has actually happened here. And you can also see the time that this event happened. It is important that there is a time associated with this event, so we can see whether this event happened prior to the ads starting to run. Make sure you have the event time, the event name, first name and last name, and as much other information as you can get. So if we have a date of birth, a gender, a phone number, an email address, the more information that we are giving Facebook, the more chance that Facebook is going to be able to link this information and match it to a personal profile. Now, you need to understand that the information that we are loading on here isn't stored anywhere. Basically, what happens is Facebook hashes this data. And the more data that we have, the more hash numbers it has. And everybody's personal profile every bit of data that we put on there is also hashed. So what happens is it's going to look for these hash events as well as those that are happening on your personal profile and is going to try and match them. By giving Facebook a lot of data, there's more chance that they're actually going to make a correct match with this information and a personal profile. Information that I always ensure I have is at least one email address, a mobile phone number, first and last name separately, date of birth if possible, and obviously your event name and time. Now, the reason that I try and get as many email addresses as I can is that people tend to have one email address that they use for their social platforms and another email address that they use for their communication. So if we're only putting one down, Facebook is not going to be able to track or link it back to a personal profile. A mobile phone number is a really good way to get a very quick match. Most people are using their mobile phone numbers as extra security when they log into their personal accounts. Once we have all this data and it is in these separate columns, go ahead and load it into your event set. Once you've completed that file, come through to Select CSV File and pull that file in. Once it is loaded up, go through to Map Data, and you should see all your data starting to appear here. Now, what you need to do is make sure that the headline at the top matches the content below. So if this was picking up this as an email address, but it wasn't an email address, you can click on this edit button and you can change it to what it is. If it is a field that you don't feel is relevant for this sort of mapping, you can come down here and ignore it. So the more data we have here, the more chance that Facebook's actually going to be able to link this data with an actual Facebook profile. Once you're sure that all this data matches the headlines, we come through to Next Review. And Facebook's going to tell us how our upload went. Now, just because we have a number of files or rows that were uploaded, this does not mean that this is the number of people that were matched. It will give us an estimated match rate, but it's never going to tell us exactly how many people were matched. It's also going to tell us any issues that may have arisen from this data, and offer any solutions that may help to make this data more robust. Now you're seeing a lot of errors for me, and that's because the data that I've uploaded is the test data that Facebook's given me, and that data is older than my ad account, so clearly it can't link anything from my ad account to that data. So don't worry about any of these having issues at the moment. Once you're happy with your data, simply click here and your upload will begin. Once it is completed, it's going to let you know how it was completed. You can rate your experience, and it is as simple as that.